Yo. What up, man? It's NBA Day. Happy NBA Day to all my people out there, man. All the sports bettors. We got a 2 game slate and we're gonna get into it, man. We're gonna break it down for sure. But before we get started, I do want to shout out to the chat too. Shout out to the people that's here already. It's 7 a.m. on the East Coast, man. This will be recorded, so if you ever jump in late or you want to watch it afterwards, you definitely will be able to. But real quick, just I want to give expectations for what this show is going to be. Catch It with Chris is a new the new NBA betting show that I'm gonna be doing pretty much daily, 7 a.m. every single day. We're gonna jump into the slate and we're gonna talk about these games. The show is presented by Basketball Forever Podcast Network. So I'll tag all of that information at the bottom. But that's the company that I'm working with. Really excited to be in partnership with them, and we're gonna rock out. We're gonna make a lot of money this year. We're gonna bet these games strategically, find angles, and get to it. So real quick, as far as last year for all the new people, this this is not something that's new to me. I hosted NBA betting shows last year, pretty much every day after December, every single day, Monday through Sunday, and started again every single day. I was hosting a Twitter space. I wasn't doing as much content on YouTube, but now we've kind of transitioned over to YouTube. Last year, we hit at about 55 percent rate last year. I didn't track units in the very beginning, so I won't give out how many units I actually made, because I was just kind of testing the market, not really betting units per se, uh, consistently, right? So we hit about 56-55% of our bets last year. So take that for what you want. And then I also want to say that this podcast will be probably about 15 minutes, no more than 15-20 minutes. I want to give you guys information to digest. A lot of the times we won't have all the information that's needed to make the best bets. But I think on a day like today, we do, right? Because this is the first day of the season. We've done, the recap shows. We've done, I've done a live look, a team preview for all of these different teams leading up into the season. So yeah, we got some stuff already for sure. So that's just pretty much the intro and what I really wanted to kind of get out in just the beginning as far as like expectations for you guys. This will, like I said, it'll be available on YouTube. It'll be available on Twitter. It'll be available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. So look forward to to those places to be able to consume the information as well. This show, and you guys can see it in the description. It's just a quick hidden NBA show where I'm gonna give you guys my top looks based on. I'm gonna share my top looks based on the research and analysis, of course, with the eye test as well. And occasionally there may be a guest. It probably won't always be a guest. I'll do a lot of these shows by myself, but you can look for a guest every now and then if I can get somebody to get up and rock with me early in the morning on a at 7 a.m. Eastern time. The show is going to be for anybody, any better, right? It could be the experienced better. It could be somebody who's new to betting and betting just opened up in their state, maybe became legalized maybe a few months ago, a few weeks ago. But these gonna be sharp bets, right? We're looking for an edge. And we're going to be discussing sides. We're going to be discussing totals, money line plays, occasional parlays. I'm not a big parlay guy. And viewers can expect, free sharp picks backed by high level, analytical data. But of course, with a sweet spot of the eye test as well, because we got to be watching these games. The podcast will be available on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. But the YouTube will be available every single day. I'm gonna try to put together one of these every single day. A lot of people know me from the Twitter Spaces. We still gonna do the Twitter Spaces every single day as well. 5:15 Eastern time, 5:15 p.m. Eastern time. There'll be an hour to hour 15 minutes, condensing them just a tad bit. But that's what we got as far as just going ahead and getting started. So let's go ahead and get started, man. I appreciate everybody that's in the chat, man. I see JR Sports in here. Shout out to Tony. Um, shout out to all you guys, man. I don't even drink coffee, Langston. I appreciate that though. No coffee for me, man. I'm my caffeine comes from life. But yeah, we smacking the books for sure. I see the love in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you for being here, Mitch. Let's get to it, man. Let's jump right into it. So we only got two games today, right? We got the Philadelphia 76ers. This line has come down to 2.5, I think. Well, actually, it's down. When I went to sleep last night, it was down to 2.5. It's now down to 2. I'm seeing 2s at all of these different books, which should let you know that money's being poured in on Philadelphia to cover this spread. This line opened up at 6.5, and of course, these lines have been up for a while now. These lines have been up for probably a few months now. But yeah, everything that kind of happened over the course of the offseason for the Philadelphia 76ers was pretty much good, right? We see Harden returning to shape, returning to camp in pretty good form, and we see Maxey take a step up in the preseason. Joel Embiid doesn't have the mask on his face, so a lot of things kind of working in Philadelphia 76ers favor. On the opposite side, the Boston Celtics, they do go out and get a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, but you got everything that happened with Ime Udoka in that situation, him being suspended for the entire season. How much of a distraction will that be for this team early on? Will the new head coach Muzula, I think is how you pronounce his name, will he be able to get these guys in spots and be able to be the voice that'll be heard early? And I think that's what we're looking for, right? That's what we're trying to figure out with this Celtics team. And I think that's also why some of this money is coming in, because of how big of the distraction that's probably going to be. So Boston, this will be their first game, of course, without Udoka. Boston, actually, I like to take this into consideration with just how teams start. Boston struggled out of the gate last season before they turned it on a few months in. They started the season, specifically in October, they only started 2-4. It was 2-4 straight up and 2-4 against the spread as well. And in those games, it was their defense that wasn't even close to what we saw it be late in the season, when they were putting together this historical defensive run. In those first 6 games, they allowed 118 points per game in October of last year. This season, they'll start without Robert Williams, which I think is huge, right? Especially when you have a guy like Al Horford starting at center, most likely starting at center. This is year 15 for Al Horford. So we know Father Time's undefeated, man. Last year, the Celtics covered the spread in 46% of their games without Robert Williams starting at center, versus when he actually played, they covered at 63%, right? So that's a big jump, right? If you think you hit 63% of your best, or you hit 46%, give me the 63 every single day, and you could be profitable long term hitting 63%. So that's something to take into consideration, if you're thinking about betting this game. Robert Williams also influences the over under. He influenced the over unders tremendously in those games that he played in. When he started in those games, the over hit only 44% of the time, versus the under hitting, what was that? 56% of the time, right? So when he didn't, the over actually cashed 61% of the time. So he made a tremendous impact on the defensive end. I think the point margin was something like 5, right? So opposing teams averaged 5 points less per game when Robert Williams started at center, versus the games that he didn't. Teams scored 5 more points per game. And of course, he's out, right? We know Robert Williams will be out for the foreseeable future. Initially, it was supposed to be a 2-month thing, but I think it's been pushed back to about 3 months, closer to 3 months now. And I also think that the Celtics won't rush him back, right? They're not playing for the preseason. They're not playing for the regular season at this point. As far as they got last year, I think that they're playing for the postseason, right? Of course, they'll still want to do good. They'll want to win their division. They'll want to win home court, so that they have it throughout the playoffs. But this Celtics team can go on the road and they can win too. So I'm not really looking for that to be as big of a deal. But I do think that not having Robert Williams early does impact this team, which leads me to one of the plays I want to give out on the show right now, right? So the total, right? The total for this game is crazy to think, but I'm looking at the live odds right now. The total actually opened at 229, which is insane, right? Because you think about Philly, you think about a slow-paced team, walking the ball up the court to get a guy like Embiid established. You think about The Sixers not playing at the fast. I'm sorry, the Sixers not playing at fast pace, but also they played much faster pace when Joel Embiid isn't on the floor. But you think about a guy like a team. I'm sorry, you think about a team like the Boston Celtics, who also don't play at an extremely fast pace, right? So for me, like I said, the total opened at 229. It got bet all the way down to 214 just a couple days ago. I think it was actually yesterday morning. The total was at 214, and I think it was there for probably about a day. For me, this play is primarily based on the 76ers offense getting better. Um, in combination with the Celtics offense already looking really, really good, right? The Celtics under Mazzulla, he already said that he's going to try to get these guys to play at a much faster pace, to get out in transition off rebounds and off turnovers and just go. And we saw it in the preseason, right? If you watch the preseason with the Celtics, this team was first in scoring. They were third in total offense. They were third in effective field goal percentage. They were third in true shooting percentage, and they were first in assists, right? Just a lot of getting out and going, right? They scored a bunch of points. I think they might have scored 130, maybe two times. And that was, not even having the guys, the primary guys in the whole entire time. The starters didn't play more than 20 to 25 minutes per game. So, of course, the preseason is meaningless, but sometimes these things do kind of translate over into the regular season, and I think they do today. I think it's also going to be really difficult for these guys to figure out a defensive scheme to slow down a guy like Joel Embiid when you don't have Robert Williams, right? The last time these two teams played, I always like to go back and look at that as well. The 76ers actually got smacked up. They got smacked up really badly. I want to say they won by 48 points. That's what it was. 135 to 87 the last time these two teams faced each other. So do you think that Philly remembers that and they'll be out for revenge? Absolutely. Do I think Philly scores more than the 87 points that they scored last time? Absolutely. They went out and got a guy in DeAnthony Milton who looks like he's going to be their sixth man. You bring in a physical, a guy, two extremely physical guys that bring toughness and rebounding to this team. And the 76ers finished 29th in rebounding last year. I think that's also important to take into consideration. You get a guy like PJ Tucker who's going to play the four, Montrezl Harrell who's going to come off the bench. They have Paul Reed as well. This team is, and we talk about Maxey too, right? This team is primed to take a jump this year. But I don't want to spend too much time on this game. I do want to say that I am on the total. I took the total over 214. Right now I see it at 216. It was 215 and a half. So some money still coming in on the over. I would probably play this up to probably about 217. So I think there's still some value on the total being at 216 right now. I played it 2 days ago at over 214. I would endorse it all the way up to about 217 as well. Player prop for this game, Jaylen Brown. I love Jaylen Brown. I love everything that I've heard since they lost. He had a in the team preview for media day. He came out and talked about wearing the shoes that they lost in the finals. He talked about being in the best shape of his life. I think that he is. He averaged 22 points in 27 minutes over 4 meaningless preseason games while shooting 60% from the field and 52% from three. I think that Tatum most likely draws PJ Tucker in this matchup, which makes it a little bit easier and more reliant, the offense relying upon Jaylen Brown, because he'll probably end up drawing a guy like Tobias Harris or James Harden or Tyrese Maxey, which all of those are better matchups than drawing PJ Tucker, right? Jaylen Brown also saw his field goal percentage increase 4% in the first half from the first half of the season in comparison to post All-Star break last year. He shot 46% pre All-Star game last year. That percentage went up to almost 51% after, right? He's been in the gym all offseason. Like I said, I think it's evident in his game, and I'm looking to take this team to go over the 214 or over, like I said, all the way up to 217. I would play the over, but then also I'm on Jaylen Brown points. I actually locked it in on Hard Rock Sportsbook, and I know that sportsbook isn't available to everyone, but I think Jaylen Brown finishes the game close to about 24, 25 points if he doesn't score more than that. Boston is a very unselfish team now. They move the ball, but I think Jaylen Brown definitely get his. So that's where I'm going to in that game. I wanna stick to the time commitment. So I'm gonna go through the Laker game, through the next game, Lakers and Warriors pretty quickly, and then we'll get out of here. Like I said, if you jumped in late, all this is gonna be recorded. You can come back and watch the live YouTube stream. It's on Twitter as well, and then everything will be available through the podcast as well, through any of the podcast and platforms as well. So, real quick, Lakers and Warriors though, we can't just gloss over this one. We get a line that opened up at 6.5 in favor of Golden State. It's gonna be ring night for them. We know that. The line is now at 6, and we've seen some fluctuation, specifically with the news that Steve Kerr came out and said yesterday. I saw it tweeted that the starters wouldn't play heavy minutes, probably roughly about 30 minutes due to conditioning. He said they'll rely on their bench, because he believes in them, and they have a bunch of guys off that bench: Jonathan Kuminga, Wiseman, Moody, DiVincenzo. You can't forget a guy like Jordan Poole, who just got his money as well, especially when guys like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green didn't play, in the preseason, right? But you bring back Wiggins. This team is still loaded. Kevon Looney's still there. So and of course, the Finals MVP Steph Curry's still there, and looks like he's primed to make another run to go deep this year as well. So the Lakers played at a couple of stats I wanted to share with you guys. The Lakers played at this. So Darvin Ham is the new coach for the Lakers. We know they brought in Patrick Beverley. AD, is probable for the game. I think he is going to play. Russell Westbrook is game time. I think a true game time decision. Lonnie Walker, we don't know what's going on with him right now, but he was injured in the last preseason game as well. This team under Darvin Ham the games that they win are going to be on because they play pretty good defense. And you can't judge everything by the preseason. I don't want you guys to think that. But what I will say, I want to share these few stats that I pulled. The Lakers played at the second fastest pace during the preseason. They played at the fourth fastest pace last season. So the offense hasn't changed much, right? You still think about getting out. You think about pushing the tempo. You think about trying to score points, trying to get easy baskets in transition. The problem with that is that if you're not scoring, which they didn't do a good job of scoring, then you speed other teams up, and those teams get into a groove, and they can score if they have capable scorers on their team. We saw the Lakers get blown out against Sacramento real recently, right? We saw them jump out on the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves come back and beat them by double digits. So what I'm saying is, if you're going to play at that fast pace, you're going to have to be efficient on the offensive end, right? Because I'm seeing a little bit of what I would consider a front runner, and the Lakers are my team. I'm a Laker fan for the people who are new, but I'm an unbiased Laker fan. What I'm seeing is a team that allowed the third most points last year, 115. Darvin Ham's stress defense and accountability, but in the preseason, the Lakers gave up the most points per game, 118.3. Right now, of course, we didn't see all the guys in there together at the same time, but that's a tad bit concerning when when the role that you want to bring to this team is inject the defensive mindset. We didn't see a defensive mindset from the Lakers throughout the preseason, throughout last season, right? Just watching these games, and I'm a big LeBron fan, but Bron isn't playing defense. And I know you don't play too much defense in the postseason. I mean, the preseason, but I think it's about building habits, and I don't see a lot of good habits for the Lakers, right? I don't see it, and that's man, it's tough for me to say, right? I typically don't even bet on my team against my team because the Lakers are so volatile. They have been for a while, so I'm probably not going to touch this game. Have anything official that I'm gonna give out on it, but I could only look towards Golden State. I do think that with the news that Steve Kerr said yesterday, you saw the line go from 6.5 down to 5.5. So some money came in on the Lakers, but I think this could be a close game, and Golden State could still kind of pull away in the fourth quarter. We know that they're a better second half team, specifically a third quarter team, but Golden State's advantage in the second half, specifically at home, it's tremendous. As home favorites last year, Golden State went they won at a 60% clip, covered the spread. I think close to 50. I'm sorry, close to 55, 60% as well. I can't remember what those exact numbers were, but the total for those games were 10 points. They won by average margin of 10 points when they were home favorites. And ring night, is typically a letdown spot, but I think that this team has a lot of motivation. We know what happened with Draymond. I think for all of those reasons that they come out and they try to dominate, to say that there's not a lot of distractions going on in the locker room because nobody wants to deal with all of those things. They have a guy like Andre Iguodala, who is a vet, that's going to be preaching to these guys, just to do the small things. I don't think that Golden State gets off to any kind of a hangover because they played so well, and we see championship teams not get back to the promised land or take a step back. But this team, I think, got better. Arguably, I know they lost a lot of guys. Bielinski is gone. Juan Toscano Anderson's gone. Damian Lee's gone. Gary Payton II, which I don't like that one, is going to Portland. But this team is prime, I think, to make another deep run, and I think they start that tonight with a Laker team coming in that really just hasn't proven anything to me. So I don't have anything official. I want to take. Maybe I'll have something official later on, as more, information comes out, because I feel like we don't have it all right now in regards to this game. So if you tap into the live Twitter spaces at 5:15 this evening, maybe I'll have something then. But that's what I got for you guys. Real quick, let me see what I got in the chat, man. Appreciate you guys for getting up and rocking with me too. Ski said 4 a.m. show. You a wild boy. Yeah, Ski, I'm out in VA, bro. So it ain't too early. I done got to work out in and everything, man. Let's see. No Time Lord either. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning, Mitch. Appreciate you being here, Josh. Mitch said I'm on the over. I want the over in that game as well. But not touching this Laker game right now. Faded Lakers -4 versus the Clippers. I like that spot, Mitch. I already looked ahead to that spot as well. The Lakers will play the Clippers next, of course, at crypto.com arena. Aaron said, hey, Chris, my book has Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points and -115. You like that over? I do still like the over on that Jaylen Brown over 22.5 points. I think the books will catch up, but I also think that right now they don't want to set these lines too high, and they don't want to set them too low when it comes to player props. I like Jaylen Brown to look really, really good tonight. And the other thing I didn't mention, but Boston actually scores about 5 more points when Time Lord isn't there either. So take those things into consideration. I got Brown at 22.5. Lakers start season 0-7. Heard it here first. Hey, Mitch, I think we're gonna get one win, bro. I think we got Portland in one of those 7 games, Mitch. So don't do us too bad, man. But that's it, man. I want to thank you guys for coming through. As always, like I said, this is gonna be a daily thing, man. I'm gonna do these every single day. The podcast will be recorded. And as always, like I said, this will be presented by Basketball Forever podcast network. All the links will be below, and then we do have the evening show as well, 5:15 Eastern Standard Time. So I thank you guys for coming on and rocking with me early this morning. I think we got up to like 40 people live at 7 o'clock. That's kind of crazy. So I appreciate you guys for being here. I really didn't have expectations for what the show was going to be, but thank you guys, and best of luck on all your bets as well. None of this is financial advice. I'm just telling you guys what I'm putting my money on, but good luck with all your bets, man. And I'll see you guys this evening, 5:15 Eastern Time, live on Twitter Spaces and on YouTube. Peace.